She demanded $1,200 a month, then learned the house was mine and the debt was hers. She didn't raise her voice, didn't look angry, didn't even stop scrolling on her phone. She just said it like a fact already approved by the universe. Starting next month, I owed $1,200 if I planned to keep living there. $1,200. I remember glancing around the kitchen, the same one where my mom used to sit with a cup of coffee every morning, and thinking how confidently some people claim ownership over things they didn't build, buy, or earn. Her name wasn't Luce's stepmother in real life. I'll call her Nadine. By the time Nadine married my father, I'd already lived in that house for more than half my life. I knew the plumbing quirks, the loose stair rail, the exact spot where the roof leaked during heavy rain. She moved in years later with her 2 kids and a talent for turning comfort into territory. At first, she acted careful. Too careful. Asking permission. Smiling too much. Calling me sweetheart in a way that felt rehearsed. Then, slowly, things shifted. Furniture rearranged. My mom's photos quietly disappeared from shared spaces. Rules started existing that I'd never heard discussed. Still, rent wasn't something I expected. Nadine framed it as maturity. She said adults contribute. She said her kids needed stability. She said $1,200 was below market value, as if generosity could be measured against something that was never hers to price. What made it surreal was the timing. I was already paying for my own food, my phone, my insurance. I worked full-time. I wasn't freeloading. I was just inconvenient. That night, while she watched TV downstairs, I sat on my bed and opened a folder I hadn't touched in years. My grandparents had been quiet people. Not secretive, intentional. When my grandmother asked me to go with her to a lawyer's office years ago, she said it was about future-proofing. I didn't question it. I trusted her in the way you trust someone who has never failed you. The house had been transferred to me that afternoon. Clean. Legal. Immediate. No announcement. No warning to anyone else. Just a decision made by people who saw further ahead than the rest of us. I didn't use that knowledge back then. I didn't need to. The house still felt like home, even if Nadine was slowly reshaping it. Until she tried to invoice me for existing. The next morning, she left a note on the counter. Rent breakdown. Due date. Late fees. She'd even added a line suggesting we discuss back pay, casually implying I'd been living there improperly for years. That was the moment it stopped being uncomfortable and became insulting. I contacted a lawyer the same day. I didn't dramatize it. I didn't tell a story. I just asked what happens when someone demands rent for a house they don't own. He smiled. That wasn't a good sign for her. 2 weeks later, Nadine was served notice. Formal language. No emotion. Just facts. She and her children were occupants without a lease. If they wished to remain, they'd need to sign one and begin paying market rent. Retroactively. The number attached to that demand was not $1,200. It was much higher. She didn't call me right away. First came disbelief. Then outrage. Then panic disguised as confidence. When she finally confronted me, she talked fast, tripping over her own explanations. She accused me of trickery, of manipulating paperwork, of turning family into enemies. My father asked to see the documents that night. I laid them out on the table, one by one. No commentary. No justification. He read everything twice. The silence afterward was heavy, but necessary. Nadine refused to cooperate. She said courts don't evict families. She said judges side with mothers. She said I was bluffing. She was wrong about all of it. The process took months. She made it ugly. Loud phone calls. Stories shared with neighbors. Tears deployed strategically. At no point did she acknowledge the simple reality. She had tried to charge me $1,200 to live in a house that legally belonged to me. The day she moved out, the house didn't feel sad. It felt neutral. Like a place resetting itself. Rooms echoed again. Air moved differently. I opened windows she'd kept shut. I put my mom's photos back where they belonged. My father moved out shortly after. We're rebuilding something quieter now, something based on honesty instead of avoidance. Nadine still tells people her version. In it, I'm greedy. Cold. Ungrateful. She never mentions the $1,200. She never mentions that the house was never hers to monetize. And she definitely doesn't mention how fast confidence collapses when paperwork enters the room. Now the house is mine in every sense that matters. Not just by law, but by peace. By silence. By choice. And no one charges me rent to live in my own life anymore.